Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
Now this is the second time me and Dave have done this week. Quick apology, the reason this is going up on the Wednesday and not the Monday, we decided to get ambitious and record with 4 people. We had Craig and Stephen also with us on Monday, and I decided to use a different kind of mic and record that in the laptop, and I thought I could be clever and get that audio and put it on with the other 3 tracks, and but it kept on going out of sync and it sounds horrendous. So
I sound worse than I normally do in that sense.
I know. So there is bits that are salvageable. So this is gonna kind of be a bit of work for me tonight, but I'm gonna take this conversation and edit in bits that Craig and Stephen have added in. Some of the bits that maybe us have said as well, but I'm saying that your mic isn't great, but you did have some good points, so I'll try and save what I can. We'll put it all together, so apologies, it's a bit of a mishmash this week, but it's still, hopefully still going to be a quality pod previewing the Derby. And if you follow what I said on Twitter, it was previewing the Derby and looking back at the Derby. So, but we'll maybe look back at some old Derbies. But anyway, quickly, Kilmarnock game. I'll edit in a couple of things from Craig and Stephen in a minute. But your overall thoughts on the game?
Poor, no changes. Pretty much the exact same as previous weeks.
What was your thoughts on the change in formation? He kind of went, we'll come back to Naismith coming in at right back. He went 4 defenders, the 3 central midfielders, although I guess Hallberg was kind of the deep lying playmaker, and then he went 2 behind the striker, Scott Allen kind of behind Canberry and Horgan just going on either wing. Both of them had kind of a free role. Do you think that's something with maybe a bit of time we could reap the rewards of, or is this a manager struggling and throwing different things at the wall and seeing what sticks?
Well, I think he's got to try different stuff because nothing seems to be working. But what I would say is when you look at the stats after the match and the way it works, it's that Horgan did very much stick to the right. So he needs to, if we are going to go with 3 roles, Horgan needs to mix it up a bit more if it's going to cause defences problems. So that has got nothing good in the gun down the left. I think the stats said 7% of our attacks came from the left, and 30% came for the right, so
a lot of them from Naismith. Yeah,
exactly. Well, he'll be in that as well, so it just renders that a bit pointless. I would much rather people knew their positions, and we had one fluid person, and so that would be Scott Allen, who was a bit a free role luxury player, as you were.
There was quite a few times where the fullback had a lot of space. I forget the left back's name, but even Stephen O'Donnell or him. It's a weird it's like mixed with Patalina, but it's a weird long name. Can't remember the left back's name. But anyway, going off topic. There's a lot of times where Horgan was on one side or the other, and they had a lot of space to do stuff. We've seen that with the first goal. O'Donnell bombing that ball over the top. Okay, Porteous probably should have met a bit better, but they had that space and time. So much for this high press, but there was nobody there because Horgan was on the right, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think the ball for O'Donnell was absolute perfect, but I think Porteous obviously misjudged it, but the ball was coming in a lot flatter than you normally see a long ball coming in, and that probably put him off, and you've got to put down lackey match time and just take a wee while to get used to it.
So now we're going to hear from Craig and Stephen on their views on the second goal conceded and individual errors and what responsibility the manager has to take with that. If you're playing Heckingbottom bingo with a post-match press conference, something you always need to have on your card is poor individual decision making let us down today. He says that after every game. He said that was why we got beat 6-1 off Rangers apparently. And I mean, if you don't get me wrong, if you look at the 2 goals, the Porteous goal, he shouldn't run and go for it. And then there's Hanlon comes bombing forward with it and then tries to pass it in midfield and it goes to them. And I mean, on the second goal, Craig, you made a good point earlier about before we start recording about when Hanlon goes into midfield, but he gets back, and then midfield.
Hanlon's the one that loses the ball, yet it still ends up back in shot. If you're watching the highlights anyway, and you'd even see it if you're at the game, he ends up back in shot before just as the boy hits the ball to go back in the net. So he's lost it up the park. He's jumped in, so he's behind the ball. He's not facing the ball, but he still managed to turn, get back before Allen, Mallan, Hallberg or Newell or whatever the 4 that's there are even in the shot.
Yeah.
Like how? Even if you watch there's a still for when O'Donnell, just before O'Donnell plays the ball, about maybe 6 of the players in short have got their backs to the ball. They're not even looking at where the ball's coming from. Like,
that's basics.
Aye, it's basic stuff. Like you face the way you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
If the ball's coming towards you and it goes over you, you can then react to it. If your back's turned, none of them ken that O'Donnell's pinging that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not paying attention. As soon as if goalkeeper's got the ball in their hands, aye, right, fair enough. Right, you maybe turn and get back, or you just do what any other person would do, and you just jog backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Why football players ever need to feel like they turn their back on the ball? Because then like say, you don't know what's coming.
Yeah. And just on decision making, Heckingbottom said this a lot after many games. At what point do you kind of say, well, why are these players making individual mistakes again and again and again? How do we rectify it, and do we need to maybe start looking at the manager? Dave?
Oh, sorry, I was reading my phone. I'm getting garlic bread on my spaghetti bolognese, mate.
Exciting.
There's some positives that we can talk about.
Yeah, so decision making, and
Aye.
At what point do we start looking at the manager when it comes to it? If the individual players are constantly making mistakes, do we eventually need to look at the manager, or why is it always a kind of...
Nothing changes week in, week out. Like that Motherwell performance was ridiculous, but really bad, and then we go away, Kilmarnock can seem to play the exact same way away from him, even though we've had 2 weeks to try and work something out. And the game against Motherwell, did we do a podcast after that? No. So like his own players were on the bench.
We done one with
Oh, so you do. But his own players were all on the bench. It's like he's not able to have confidence in his own players to come on to change the game.
And Ollie Shaw, who was wanting to leave, gets brought on before Doyle does.
We're 2-0 down at Motherwell, and he doesn't bring on a striker that he's just signed.
Yeah.
I was firmly, and I kept it to myself, in the Hickey in camp. To myself, I thought, do you know what? Let's just give him.
God, somebody was there.
Let's just give him a few weeks. Let him can get through this international break, see what happens. But Saturday's done it for me. I don't know how, like, individual mistakes. Why are you still picking them?
Yeah.
Why is Stevie Mallan undroppable? I remember we played Livingston near the start of last season. I'm sure we got beat 2-1. Horgan scored. And we got beat 2-1. And folk even then sitting round about me, Stevie Mallan's dad had to go and move and sit somewhere else because folk were caning him. So that's over a year.
Yeah.
Why is he undroppable? Where is Fraser Murray?
Who's been very good centrally.
Where
we talk about the high press. Was it the Turks tea cake or whatever it was called, wafer game? He was very good at that high press from the centre mid position. It's something he was doing a lot in the pre-season friendlies. We played Allen and Fraser in that role, and obviously Mallan defensive mid, which didn't work. But we were pressing from the midfield with those two.
Where is Fraser Murray? Why is he disappeared? Why are we lacking a defensive midfielder? Why are we not giving that Tommy Block? By all means, he's getting rave reviews for playing at Queen's Park, and then you look at the development team and he's playing at fucking right back.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on with Ben Sterling? Why is he not getting a game? Surely they can't be any worse than what's out there. Where's Josh Campbell? Like, why are they sending out all these young players on loan? And then the ones that we are keeping, like Fraser Murray, he's not getting anywhere near the team.
So we play Hearts at the weekend in Derby. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about the game. But before we get to that, Marvin Bartley was on BBC Sports Sound. I get Sports Scene, Sports Sound mixed up. Sports Sound. And he was talking about leaving Hibs. It was quite a really good interview. If you've not checked it out, check it out. He was talking about that. He was talking about Milligan leaving, and he was talking about the way Hibs are playing this season. What did you take from the interview?
I took for the interview that he also sees the problem. So that's another one to the list of people who can actually spot what's going wrong. So he maybe should have stayed in the building, maybe. But I miss him.
Yeah.
Just, I didn't really know what else to say. Like, I would take him back in a second. He's exactly what we need. So, and he says that, what did he say? He said that him and Milligan are the type of players that are better when they've not got the ball. And he can see that that's the problem, whereas we're good and we're tidy when we've got the ball. Now, Heckingbottom said that for the last couple of matches, and then that's when Heckingbottom then came out and said that we want to start winning ugly, but we need somebody like Bartley, and he's basically saying, aye, you guys are missing me here. That's what he's basically saying. That can win the ball back and is clever off the ball, stop breaks, can see stuff happening, because our midfield now seem to be getting caught out a lot. So that's maybe just they're not actually seeing danger because they're used to having the ball at their feet and they're used to having people sweep them up behind them. That player's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I spoke about this when we interviewed Paul Kane. Bartley at the Livingston game, sitting in front of that back four, protecting that back four, and also allowing the five in front to, although Livingston are very structured and have lots of people helping out defending, those five in front had so much more freedom to be creative and, you know, create chances on the counter and stuff because of the freedom that he gave them, the license he gave them, that if they did go forward, don't worry, I'm going to still be here protecting the back four. And the amount of, you know, there was the article from on BBC by Stefan, I'll forget his second name, where something like 50% of the counter-attacks we've conceded have came through the middle, and 90% of counter-attacks end up in a shot on goal, which is insane.
Yeah, scary. And what you just said right, and what Bartley's touching on is it maybe has hampered, like, Mallan's not had a good season at all.
No.
And not having a tidy player kind of in run about him that is going to sort any mistakes he's making maybe affects your confidence and be like, right, I'm not going to try this, I'm not going to try that, and you end up just being like predictable on the ball and sideaway passes, lateral passes, and we just become so easy to defend against and boring to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and here is what Craig had to say on the mistake of letting go Bartley from a personnel point of view as well as obviously on the pitch.
No replacing the two, Bartley and Milligan, for me is criminal.
Getting rid of the two of them at the same time in the first place.
But not if you're bringing somebody in to replace them. Like, I can understand Bartley maybe on the wane a bit, Kenny's not going to play as much. But if you're doing that, then you keep Milligan. Or if Milligan's maybe getting a bit too old and he maybe wants to look into the coaching and Hibs didn't want to do that, keep Bartley.
But that's the thing, like, if it was that, what you're saying about Milligan, like looking to go into the coaching and that, signing, was it 4-year deals for Gray and
why
McGregor?
Are we doing it? Why are we doing it for
them when you've got an Australian international who plays centre back and defensive midfield? Getting rid of him, like, and obviously there was talk about him leaving to free up wages and that for other players. If that's the players that we're bringing in, for him to leave to free up wages, fuck this.
To be fair, Bartley's on a coaching role with Livingston as well, isn't he?
Reserves,
like, if the whole point about giving Gray and McGregor these contracts is that you keep the characters within the building, they ken what it means to play for Hibs. Gray, you could almost argue that they're kind of different, because Gray was an outsider coming in with a knowledge of Hibs' Scottish football. McGregor, lifelong Hibby. Bartley was one who came in, just who you would say you would say that Bartley got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, just when somebody like Fontaine got it, Bartley got it. Why are you letting these people go out the door if they're that important? And that's what I was saying before we came on. I think I was saying it to Dave in the car. Where's the character in this team? Where's the characters? You stand in a tunnel at the Derby and Bartley's there just snarling. Like, that gives me a lot more confidence than Stevie Mallan standing shiting himself, looking up at Christoph Beira. Looking up thinking, oh, I don't know if I fancy this today. Like, there's no characters in that team whatsoever, and I think that's the most disappointing thing, is that we've let characters go and we've not brought anybody in to replace them.
So off the back of the article by Stefan on the BBC, going into a lot of the stats of the team, one thing it did look at was the interceptions that we had last season. Mark Milligan was averaging 6.64 last season, and Omiyonga was 3.4 interceptions per game on average, and the top 5 midfielders in the league were averaging around 7.86. So off the back of this, we got into a conversation about how this season Mallan and Allen are only managing 1.43 and 1.42 respectively, and whether their place in the team should be looked at. At the moment, is Scott Allen a luxury player that we can't afford to play?
Absolutely not.
No.
Scott Allen's the kind of guy you build your team around.
But if we're playing him in the midfield before, is that why we're kind of got to maybe play him more in attack, because our midfield, if he's only getting low defensive things like
But
that.
why is he getting put in a position where he's having to make interceptions? That's not his game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where Milligan and Omiyonga, Omiyonga done the work of both, like going forward and coming back like that. The derby that we won at Tynecastle only got better when Omiyonga was allowed to push further up the park, which allowed us to win the ball higher up the park. That's no Scott Allen's game. Why? If we knew he was coming in, he was in the door before Hickey was even in the door.
Yep.
When he's coming in the door, that team should be built around getting the best out of him, because you get the best out of him, you get the best out of everybody else. Why are they asking him to play as a centre midfielder when he's not a centre midfielder?
It just all goes back to why'd you get rid of Milligan and Bartley at the same time.
Yep.
It's like you can't have them both going and not having somebody replacing them.
I think your question's relevant if you swap Allen for Mallan. I think Mallan's made
That was my next question, Dave.
Was it? Sorry.
Yeah, it's alright. We'll think alike, that's fine. So yeah, is Mallan a luxury player
Yes.
that we should drop?
Yeah.
No, he's not even a luxury player for me. He's a player that we didn't need.
Right.
Like, I don't see, other than
was
pinging
our
it for 30
Scott
yards.
Allen last year. He was at the end of the day, you can't take away for the fact he scored goals, right? Fair enough, he dried up towards the end of the season and he got a heck of a lot of assists. Hey, I didn't even mean that. But he got a lot of assists. So, and he won Player of the Year, which I don't like. Yeah, fair enough, he deserved it, but that just shows you how poor we were last season. Because
He only won it because nobody else deserved it.
I know. I was
Like,
going to
the
say
other one you
wasn't
could have had would have been, if they hadn't got injured, Porteous,
Yeah.
or if he hadn't left, would have been Effie.
So Mallan has, one of the reasons he's been, big part of the team last season was his what he offered from set pieces. He has not now. It's gone over a calendar year since he's scored from a free kick, and I think there's been one assist this season from a corner. I think Jackson scored. Apologies if there's another one, but as far as I could look back, that's the only one I could see. So if he's not offering, things from set plays, what does Mallan offer?
He comes out of the team. He just comes out of the team.
No, but what does he offer to the team? Because he's playing, and he'll probably play on Sunday. So what does he offer to the team?
He's not offering much now.
You can't deny that he's talented for distance, right? You would be an idiot to say that he's no deadly within that sort of 25 to 30 yard radius.
But how
But
many
you can't
shots-
rely your game on getting ball. Like, our game should be getting balls to Canberry in the box, no getting it into a shootable position for Mallan 25-30 yards for goal.
That's the biggest problem here, is the fact that he's not getting enough space when 25-30 yards to shoot now.
He's getting shots. I mean, I'm watching even just looking back at the highlights and stuff. There was 2 or 3 he had from outside the box,
But he's
and
not
they were
getting
never travelling the keeper.
But that's the thing though, because he's not getting the time that he had last season when he had Omiyonga, like being able to open up space for
So
him.
why aren't other people
Milligan
able to do that?
That's the question that you've got to ask Hickey. That's the whole problem, and that's where we're faltering this season, is the fact that we're not winning anything in midfield.
Okay, so let's get on with the derby at the weekend, Sunday, which kind of makes me feel a bit more relaxed about the podcast going up a couple of days late, because I've not got the game on Saturday, so we've got extra time for folk to listen to it. So thank you for listening, although it's not went up the scheduled time. Remember, the first year and a bit you doing this, we were like, well, the one up on a Tuesday, one on a Wednesday, one on a Monday, one on a Sunday. We were all over the place.
We didn't care.
And now,
To be honest, I still don't really care that much what day was it.
I like the fact we were getting structured with the Monday, so
Yes,
I'm a
structure's
bit,
good.
yeah, but it was getting to 11 o'clock at night when I was trying to edit the audio for this, and it was a nightmare, and I was like, I need my bed. I'm up at 9 in the morning, I'm doing a 24-hour shift, I've got interviews on the Wednesday. I just need to go to my bed, so I apologise, but and unless I start getting paid for the podcast, it's not going to there's going to be times where things like this happen, unfortunately. But anyway, the derby on Sunday, so yes, Sunday. We're drinking beforehand?
We're going to need to, I think. And a lot after it, probably.
Yeah.
But I drink aware and all that, by you.
Nah.
Please drink responsibly, is that what they say?
Yeah.
But Denny, get sloshed, forget it ever happened.
How are you feeling ahead of it?
Oh, weird. I actually don't feel as excited. What I want to do is I want to forget about the Heckingbottom Levine thing, because I want to sit down and enjoy us beating Hearts, hopefully. I didn't want to think, 'cause you obviously see people being like, I've actually not heard many Hibs fans saying it, but multiple Hearts fans, including one of my mates that I play fives with, has said that he wants Hibs to win so that Levine gets the sack. I'm not at that stage with Heckingbottom. I think he can't turn it around Heckingbottom. That's where I'm at with him. Time's up, but I would like to think that I still want Hibs to beat Hearts.
Yeah.
And I said as much. I was on the football daft.
Yeah, well, yes, I was going to plug that, yes.
Are you going to plug that? Yes.
You can plug it now, though.
Yes.
Go for it.
I'm on football daft. Only for like 5 minutes, but had a wee bit of banter with Ewan and Grado. So obviously talking to that fucking Hearts knob makes I just really want to beat them, but I'm not confident. What about you?
It's a strange one. I done we've both been doing other things this week. I done a preview for our partners FansBet. Go sign up to FansBet via Hibs Talk if you've not done that. Cheap plug. But yeah, I done a preview for them, which will be going up for the Weekender, the 30-minute video they do, and it's a weird one because you go in it and that usually the atmosphere for derbies are electric, and it seems like this is a case of you're thinking which side of the ground is going to turn toxic first. Is it going to be the Hibs end or the Hearts end? I think even if it's 0-0, both sets of fans will get toxic. It's strange that that's the kind of thinking we're going into. So from a Hearts point of view, I've seen this on Twitter. They have 9 injuries, 7 of which you'd probably argue are starters. Walker, Naismith, Smith, a couple other names which I kind of got bored looking, but because I don't really know the Hearts team that well. But what's your kind of thoughts on that? Does that make you feel a bit more confident?
Nah, because I'm pretty sure this has happened before. They've come in with like a more depleted team and they've done absolutely fine. Their record at Easter Road is actually no bad, even though, having looked back, I was a wee bit surprised by this. They've actually only won 2 of the last 11 derbies.
Right.
So you've got to think this is our time, like, to keep being on top of them, cement them at the bottom of the league, like pull away from them a wee bit. Might well I think we would put the final nail in Levine's coffin.
Really?
Oh aye. If we beat them, I think that would be it. That would be extremely satisfying to know that was his last game, and he leaves Hearts as trophyless as ever. That'd be brilliant. I'd be satisfied with that. But at the same time, I didn't want him to leave ever.
Just quickly, because we're no Hearts talk, but if he does leave, does he leave altogether or does he go back into director football?
I hope he stays, run about, and again, because he just breathes that it just seems to be such a negative air run about Hearts when he's involved. So personally, I hope he stays, but I think he would go altogether. Imagine losing 3 jobs in one day.
There was
cheer up, Craig Levine.
There was rumours going about that. I mean, it's Wednesday now, that Neil McCann was going to be in place by Wednesday.
Yep.
But then, he's done a press conference, or not a press conference, but he's chatted to the press and stuff, and was like, "Nah, I'm not going anywhere." And from the way Levine's talking, doesn't sound like he's going anywhere at all. Like, even if he does get beat.
Yeah, no, well, that's what he does. He's a bit like our manager,
who has also been talking that way. He's the press conference before the Kilmarnock game was talking about what he needs in January, and he recognises now what he needs in January.
A week after the summer transfer when he's finished, we're talking about the January one.
And he's thanks, that'll be great to edit. And he's also talked about May as well. Plans for May as well. Right. So Heckingbottom season.
I didn't even know what I'm doing in May, and I didn't even run a football club. I didn't know if I'm going to go to Mexico or no.
Heckingbottom sees himself here long term.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
He's delusional.
We touched on the defensive midfielder earlier. I mean, maybe this is what he's hitting towards in January. Do you think he's kind of underestimated Scottish football and thought, I can get away with playing 3 tidy midfielders and play this energetic game? And in my head and on paper, it sounds really good. But then he's like, oh wait, we're getting hit. Hopefully seen it. We're getting hit on the counter-attack here again and again and again. I need to get somebody in that can, do the Bartley Milligan role.
Aye, it's the only I can think that he's thought. I can't apply any other logic to it. He's underestimated it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Kind of typical arrogant look the Scottish football that most people have when they come up for down south or other places. They think it's a pub league year all the time, and to think that you don't need somebody that can like get stuck in and like kind of mix it up a wee bit Aye, there's an element of arrogance in that. But I think that when he speaks anyway, I think slightly smug in that at times, and I think he's got an area living about him, which is unfortunate.
So how would you set up for the game?
How would I set up? Oh, gosh. You could go 3-5-2. I would definitely. Hanlon's been poor, but I would start him.
You have to. It's a
Porteous.
derby, yeah.
With Porteous. I don't see having Porteous and Jackson, who's never played together, as a first pairing in a derby when you're likely going to have who they got playing up top. Is it going to be Stephen McLean? Is it going to be Uche? Is he injured?
No, she's fit.
Is he? So they two will be throwing their shell about, and Stephen McLean's he's no a particularly good football player, but he's clever. He winds folk up, he gets in your ear, and he's an intelligent footballer.
He'll be effective whether he's on for 90 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yes, and I would prefer, obviously Hanlon and Porteous would play together, so I would prefer them two to be together. Then right back Naismith, thought he pass marks for the weekend. Left back Louis. I would play Horgan on the right, Middle on the left, and I'd probably play Hallberg, and it's probably going to be Vela in it. It probably won't be this.
And would you play the two of them in like a sitting role to protect the back four?
Yeah, with Alan being completely free in front of him, and then Flo.
Yeah, I mean that's something that, you know, I don't want to talk about England too much, but Rafa Benitez teams, especially at Newcastle, were famous for the two defensive midfielders protecting the back four and having the four in front and having the freedom to kind of do stuff. And when we're conceding so many goals through the middle on counter-attacks, really we've kind of maybe got to look to shore that up and play, you know, two players that can play a defensive midfield role in there. So interestingly, Mallan doesn't make the team for you.
No.
I'm going to kind of cut to Craig and Stephen giving their thoughts on this as well, but what do you think Mallan offers to the team?
This season, unfortunately, not very much. He's had his assist against St Johnstone for Jackson's goal. That's been about it. The odd long shot, which haven't been that dangerous. A couple of, like you said the other day, I'll not steal your thunder, but he's not scored a free kick in
over a
calendar year. So kind of takes that danger away. You can't really include that after that kind of start. You're like, right, well, he can't play because he's good at set pieces. He's dangerous, but he's no anymore. He's kind of lost that confidence. I don't know. Teams probably don't foul us as much because they're aware.
Goalkeepers maybe watched a lot of his free kicks.
Yeah. So I just think he's been really poor. Don't see a lot of work rate for him either, which is disappointing. And I think that's what we need to fit, especially on Sunday. They're going to be physical. And that's my worry, because we're too weak or too lightweight.
Yeah, they talk about that sort of lightweight midfield. It's something that a lot of pundits have kind of said. Going up against a Hearts team that's known for being physical is kind of a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 months ago we were fighting for second place. I seen somebody say that on Twitter today.
That depressed you a wee bit.
I kind of just sat back and was like, Jesus, like, really, is that how fast things can change in football? And it is. So I don't know if that's a good thing for Heckingbottom or no, that he can maybe look at that and be like, okay, I'm at 5 games, in 5 games time we might all like him. Doubt it.
What will it take for that to happen?
He needs to win his next 2. Getting us a semi at Hampden, beating Hearts, and I think he needs to go on a wee run of good games, but the football needs to improve. We need to stop, as cliche as this sounds, we need to stop conceding goals and start scoring goals. Stupid, eh?
Michael Owen comment right there.
It's that easy.
If say we beat Hearts, we get through one way or another in the cup, and then say we get beat to Celtic with a good performance, do you think fans would be a bit more accepting if there's a good performance and promising signs in there?
Yeah.
If coming off the back of 2 wins?
Yep.
Yeah, so that maybe thinks the tide.
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I'd still say that long term I don't think he's the right man for the job, but at the end of the day he's got it now, and we can't go into the weekend turning up with negativity He's already moaned about it against St Johnson, even with the players.
We cost them the St Johnson game.
We cost them that.
We can't cost them the Derby.
No,
as well.
I've not been responsible for losing an Edinburgh Derby. Don't want that.
I can't have that on my conscience.
No. So turn up, support the team. If they lose, let them ken you're annoyed. I will be. But I'm no turning up with that on Sunday.
How many times do you think we'll hear Hecky's at the wheel song?
None.
I think we will hear it for the Hearts end. I
Yeah.
guarantee they'll have some sort of thing on it.
Well, there's not got many songs,
No.
so they probably need to come up with one or two new ones. But it'd be quite good to imagine sticking it to Craig Levein, man. Oh, right. Aye, that's my happy memory. Everybody go into that derby thinking about sticking it to Craig Levein for the weekend. Beautiful.
So I'm just going to quickly cut to Craig and Stephen's thoughts on the derby, and then we've got a couple more things to finish up.
That could turn toxic
Yeah, it's pressure
on Sunday. But then what you want is you almost, and this is going to sound fucking ridiculous, right? But you almost want to go 1-0 down just to see what these players are made of. Can these players handle going 1-0 down at home to Hearts, and have they got the buzz and have they got the metal inside to go, Ken, what? Fuck this. We can't put up with this.
No chance. We got 1-0 down against Kilmarnock, Motherwell, Rangers,
Aye, but
them all.
It's different. We went 1-0 down against Hearts last time and beat. No, did we? Did we go 1-0 down when we beat them at Tynecastle? Aye, we did.
Tynecastle, aye.
Like, the players need to show that kind of metal again, and I don't think that they've got it. This on Sunday, this has the potential to be
brutal,
horrible, and it's a weird one, and almost like, I mean, I've seen folks saying online, Hibs fans and Hearts fans saying, "Fuck, go and just win so Levein goes." Like, this will be the final straw for Levein, and Hibs fans go, "Nah, Ken, what, we'll take a win against you, Ken, as long as it means that Hecky goes." Like, one, I've not seen enough wins against Hearts in my lifetime to justify passing up a win against them.
Yeah.
And two, this is the kind of game that could really define the season. If we go out there and, do you know what, if we win, it's no pretty, but we win, it will show that the team's got a bit of fight about it, a bit of dig. If we go out there and play well and win, even better, it shows that it's in there. What do we need to do to get this on a consistent basis? If we go there and we get beat, pumped, bullied off the park, then that's
there will be a protest. If we get a beat, I 100% guarantee there'll be about 10,000 fans sitting outside the main stand.
Don't be 10,000, but
barely 1,000 done it when we got relegated.
But aye, there was a Boxers Nation and Alessandra both asked on Instagram, what do you think the derby's going to be like, and what do you think the atmosphere is going to be like? I just wanted to ask sort of your some of your favourite derby memories, because I think we're going into this and we can maybe need a bit of cheer up, so just kind of wanted to touch on some of your favourite derbies. But obviously, so looking back at old derbies, one of the managers that was in charge of a lot of our joyous ones, and maybe some not so good ones as well, was Jim Jeffries. Our best wishes to him. You know, it's great shit to see somebody going to go through some bad health stuff, so hopefully he pulls through. And on health and announcements and stuff, just a couple hours ago the news come through that Fernando Rickson has passed away. Obviously well documented, he's been battling that illness for a long time. Just a quick line, Fernando Rickson, would you say he's probably one of the best right backs we've seen in the top flight in Scotland over the last 20 years?
Yeah, I would say so. I didn't like him at all as a player,
and that's usually a good sign.
I was going to say that's a good sign. He was a wee bit of wind-up merchant, and that's one of them that you like him if he's in your team, and then if he's not in your team, then you don't like him. He's a wee bit like Scott Brown, that arrogance and that about him. So
Hartley,
but to see, I think it's up there with one of the worst illnesses you can get. It's like you're a prisoner in your own body, and that.
Yeah. In fact, his mind's horrible. Still there. And
yeah. When they wish it upon anybody, and I honestly, genuinely, think it's such a shame. So, no nice. Mm-hmm. And said that earlier, it kind of makes you think it's only a game, innit?
Yeah.
Like, why do you get so worked up about it? Mm-hmm. And then we've just spoke about it there and got worked up about the derby, and then you start talking about this, and you're like, does it? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter, does it? No.
It's a football team that we go entertainment. We get. I know folk, might go, no, Hibs' life and stuff. Like, the end of the day, it's our football team that we go along and support, and we should enjoy ourselves and get into it at the weekend. But there's a life outside of football as well.
You're not going to go home and have your dinner, and dinner time's the best time of the day. Innit? I love dinner time. So obviously best wishes to Jim Jeffries. Hope you get better soon, and our thoughts are with Fernando's family at this time, tricky time. So Jim Jeffries was in charge for quite a few of my favourite memories. Obviously we sing Cheer Up Craig Levine. Now we sung Cheer Up Jim Jeffries. Is there any sort of memories, favourite derbies you've got from growing up to put ourselves in a better mood for the derby at the weekend? Yeah, you've got obviously the most recent ones are probably my favourite ones.
Yeah, those two Scottish Cup ones were brilliant.
But 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad made a screensaver a Russell Latipi, and it was literally an image sliding side to side because technology wasn't the best, and I thought it was the best thing ever.
Yeah. And
it was that 6-2 game. That's probably one of my favourite, because I like that strip and everything, Sozzy, Pat Line and then front flips. I still don't know how aerodynamically that's possible, but he did, so brilliant. For
me, it's the one that'll always be up there is the Gary O'Connor in the last minute. Him and Dobie coming on as a sub. We're down to 10 men. Grant Brebner got sent off in the 30th minute. I've talked about this in the podcast before. Absolutely love it. I was about 13 or 14 at the time. I was just starting to understand Hibs versus Hearts. My dad told me about all the stuff in the 90s and about the rivalry between the two clubs, and just starting to get it. And that was when the penny dropped for me. When that goal went in, I guess the 90 minutes and stuff, and expecting him to score because we had 10 men, and how much it was bothering me that I thought they were going to score, and then the relief when O'Connor scored that goal. It's a defining moment in my life as a Hibs supporter. So it was this just fantastic goal, and probably one of my favourite O'Connor memories as well as favourite derby memories. But it wasn't the worst time growing up for us. I mean, Varden scoring screamers against Hearts every now and then, and the one O'Connor one and stuff. But
the Minder Ross Caldwell one, last one, that was class.
Aye.
But also, obviously, this is not a memory for us, but we actually got to sit and watch the 7-0 one with Pat Stanton. At Pat Stanton's night. So just getting to sit and watch all the goals go in, and the majority of the players were on the stage.
Yeah,
that was quite surreal. So wee things like that, just to see what it means, and that's I would play like the hundreds of derby videos and that before derbies, just because a lot of the team now haven't played, have they?
There's quite a few that haven't.
A few haven't they? And then
like 9, 10 signings. So,
but even just go back and show them Horgan's goal, and then
they'll all be on the bench.
The limbs. I know that they will all be on the bench. This would be a catty comment there, Gav.
Now, it's just a fact. 6 of the 7 subs are new signings against Kilmarnock. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you'd show your
even just go back and show them Horgan's goal, and be like the limbs. Show them Sunshine and Leaf. This gets played at the end by a bit. I don't even know how well Sunshine and Leaf would go down at the end of this one. But
if we win, it'll go down a treat. Aye.
That's the thing. It's Hibs v Hearts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get it on. Get the CD ready. It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. So you confident?
Nah. Aye. Aye and no. So that I just want to win. So I think that's overriding my every feeling about how we've played going into this. I just think to myself, it's a derby.
Score predictions?
I said 2-1 in Football Daft, so I'm going to stick to that.
Right. I can see Hearts scoring. Again, in the Fansbit preview I said, although they've only got 1 point again the last 2 games, they've scored 4 goals. They're still scoring goals, even with their injuries and their poor form. And we're conceding goals for fun. So I think they're going to score. It could be a high scoring game. My head says 2-2, but
it's an Edinburgh derby though. They're always absolutely murder.
So I'm going to go
for a neutral point of view to watch. So, Credo was saying 0-0.
Aye.
Yeah, usually they're always murder. That's what he was saying. So, I can see for a neutral point of view why people think that. But I think that'd be the Old Firm.
Aye, a lot of the Old Firm games they're hit and miss.
Aye. So let's just go and fucking hammer them, man. How good would it be?
Yeah.
Can I see it? That's what I mean. I've just no idea what's going to happen. I'm saying 2-1 though. Go.
Good. Aye. I'm
Move
going
on.
to go 2-1 as well. My head says 2-2, but I'm going to follow my heart. Well, aye.
Follow the heart.
Follow my emotions and go 2-1 Hibs. So,
Right.
aye. Well, thank you for coming out and recording stuff for a second time, Dave. Thank you
great
for listening. Although it's kind of went up, we asked for questions for Monday, so I think people were expecting it on Monday night. So I apologise again for the getting over ambitious with the mics, and we'll have to just invest in a fourth mic rather than trying to get a different type of mic and record it on a laptop. So, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your podcasts, and make sure you follow us on social media at HFC Talk. We will be back next Monday. I promise it'll be the Monday, and we will look back at the derby and look ahead to the Kilmarnock game on the Wednesday night. So, aye.
Could be fun, could be no fun. We will wait and see.
Hopefully we're buzzing with positivity and things are changing and things are turning. And I'm going to predict it now. The one where things turn around. That's the title of the episode next week.
Hecky performs a U-turn.
Oh, high five. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. So that's what we're expecting the title to be next week.
Hecky performs a U-turn. Right, okay.
Well done, Dave. You should do the title of the episodes more often.
Yeah, I should. I'm intelligent as fuck.
Right, I'll let, surprise, Dave's going off to play bowls. So he's either working, podcasting, or bowling. So enjoy your bowls tonight.
Will do, mate.
Okay, so I know we've done the end of the podcast, but just a wee bonus is we're putting on our jackets ready to go. I know we're not Hearts Talk, but Hearts have released a statement on their manager's future. We touched on it earlier on, so we just thought we'd add this in at the end. Dave, what's the statement say for those who haven't heard it?
Yeah, it could be quite good news for Hibs fans who want Levine. So it's basically backing Levine and says, in short, our board remains behind the manager, his coaching staff and his team. Not because he is untouchable, not because he is all-powerful, and not because we are weak, as has been suggested. We remain behind him because we believe in the plan we have jointly put together.
So it looks like Levine's staying long term.
I'm starting to wonder if Budge is a secret agent. Hired by Dempster. Ron Gordon's put a bit of money in it this season to kind of fast track it. What are you thinking?
Nah. You can take your tinfoil hat off. Should kind of get back more to Hibs, is this maybe something, if Hibs are behind Heckingbottom, a statement like this would just be a good idea for Hibs to put out?
Normally when somebody comes out and be like, well, we're right behind the manager, they're sacked the next week.
Right.
So, nah.
But I mean, the way that the Hibs have spoken in the past, they seem to be very much behind Heckingbottom and his long-term vision, give him a 3-year contract, all the players that he's signed a 3-year contract.
So you already know this without them having to come out and tell us. But I think once it gets to the point of us having protests, which I hope doesn't happen, but if it does happen, then
this might come.
I would say then Dempster and that would need to say something. I still want Ron Gordon to say something. Just come out and anything. It says football club.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean,
aye.
I just would be nice to hear what he's thinking, what he's got to say.
I mean, I know a lot of people are impatient with it because it's like, oh, money, we want money, but like, I think he should be getting as well educated about Hibs and Scottish football and what his long-term plans are going to be before he speaks. I think he's showing up, even travelling out to Kilmarnock, and we can see him in person, which is great. He's come a lot of games. He was coming behind the goals. He's got a presence. I like that, but I think he should wait until something that he says is really meaningful, and he knows what his kind of long-term plans actually are, rather than jumping in and saying something before when things could still change.
Okay.
But when you were going to argue with me back there, but you're kind of...
No, because I can see that logic, but I'd also just think it'd be nice for him to say something now and be like, look, I've been here now for a couple of months, because it has been a few months, because I know it's been a few months when I've been back on my holiday, and it happened when I was in Mexico. My tan has faded. It's been ages, so I would quite like to have said something by now. Maybe just a wee sit down with Hibs TV. It was international break there. Quite easily could have done it then. And he's over, so he's still here. So aye.
Okay, right. Well, finish up there. We've already gone through the whole spiel of where to subscribe and all that. So if you were on the fence about it, do it. Aye. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.